All right, we are recording. Jenny.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I am great. How about you?
I'm doing great. You know what? When the time when I saw you, I'm just happy. I don't know why.
Me too. You're a friendly face and you make me smile. Do you want to do the river cleanup? Did you hear about that
Okay, so
river
how was
cleanup?
your day? Oh, yeah. Like it's a service, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a service project thing in Alex to go clean the river. I've already been to it. It's really nasty. It's really gross and disgusting. But if you want to come with me,
I want to. Like,
you do?
tell me when.
It's
Yeah,
on.
I really want to.
It's on the 11th, so just a few weeks away.
Okay. Okay, I will be there. So we will make time and then so hello.
Hi, Sunil.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello,
How are you?
Sunil. How are you?
Great. How was your Sunday?
It's been good.
Mine is finished already.
It was great.
Yours is
Yeah.
it's already what, 6:30 there?
Yes, it's 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
So my Sunday is
because it's evening there.
Yeah. So let's last time I told you, Jinin, that I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Which the kind of questions I usually get from my friend, from my brother and people like that, because they are also learning this language, but they are in the beginner stage.
Okay.
And when they listen to me, or maybe when they listen to others, they were like, what kind of things we usually we need to do in order to be a good speaker of English. But when they ask this type of questions, and when I started ask question to them, they usually give like the answers which are not I think right in order to learn this language, because they think that if you are not going through the academic process, like the school, university, you won't be able to learn this language. So that's why I prepared around 5 questions here.
Okay.
As my friends told me, so that's what we're going to discuss today.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
go ahead. I think I'm ready.
Yes, you are ready. I think you're not going to have any problem answering this sort of questions.
Okay, good.
So let's start from the hard part, which is for me. For me, grammar is something which takes me a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah, grammar is a hard one.
Grammar is a hard one, as well as for you, because when you were learning your native language, you didn't have the idea of grammar. But when you grew up, you learned this in order to teach others.
Yes.
So the question is here, does the grammar so important for this language, or anyone can learn this language without the idea of grammar even?
I think grammar is very important. I'm making sure my kids know it, and even when I was in school, we learned it in elementary school. There was always some aspect of grammar being taught, because English is so complex. There's so many different variations on the rules that are made that you need to learn them and you need to practice them. Definitely, I think grammar is important.
Yeah, but for me, like English is kind of like 2 types. For me, one English is academic English, and the other is the real English, which I'm using right now.
Yes.
So for me, as long as I am doing something in my academic area, there I need the idea of grammar, that how actually grammar works. But when it comes to talk to people, like we are doing right now, I think we
Yes.
don't have to have a good idea about grammar when we are using our language practically in life. Because
Mhm.
I have seen many people that when they put their interest in grammar aspects, they usually hamper their fluency. They usually think about their mistakes, that did I make any kind of mistake or not, this type of things.
Right.
And I think that hamper their speech. They tend to speak slow. So
Okay.
what do you think on it?
I think that's true. That's very true because even when I'm speaking, it's a lot more casual than if I'm writing. So grammar is most important for if you're writing, and it is very important in academics. But there's just little things I think if you're just learning English, just starting English as a non-native speaker, and you maybe watch some English movies or listen to English music, then you already get a basic idea of grammar and how people do and do not speak, right?
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
could give you a
Because
better idea, just the casual way that we speak and not have to worry about the academic side.
yeah, because besides English, I think there are many languages which has nothing to do with writing part and the reading part. Because there are many languages which I know they have nothing in writing, nothing in reading. That language are just being spoken by people day by day, but still people are speaking that language. So
Yeah,
I think we can follow that process in order to learn any kind of language. But
right.
English is kind of a language where we have enough resources, enough
Mhm.
data to analyze on, and we can take right steps. But still, when people have like different resources from different area, they usually throw up themselves, that they usually think that where should I start from. So what do you think? What is the right procedure for a beginner to start the language learning?
Well, because I started learning English as a baby, but when I started learning Chinese, the best thing for me was to find someone who speaks Chinese and talk together. Someone who's much
Yeah,
better at it than me. That to me, that was the easiest way to start. To find a friend that you can speak with in English, because that person will, maybe kindly correct your mistakes and also help encourage you to do better if you have
yeah,
that available.
yeah. Okay. So like next thing is like I think like when someone is learning a language initially, if you're gonna like pick out like his or her mistake like more than we need, I think that little bit like make them feel like nervous, awkward, and they feel like this language is not our thing. We don't need to learn this language. So what do you think when someone is learning a language initially, do
Mhm.
we need to like confront them with their mistake or not, like for 2-3 months, like initial 2-3 months?
I think it maybe depends on the person. Some people are more sensitive than others, and some people just they want to know their mistakes so they can learn better. For me, it would have been helpful because I'm a more sensitive one. So when I was learning Chinese, I didn't want to hear, I want to hear, you're doing great, because this was so, so, so difficult for me. Chinese and English have like nothing in common, nothing. And so it
Yeah,
was very, very difficult, very different from what I was used to. So I definitely wanted to not have to worry about my mistakes.
yeah,
But then I know
yes,
people who, like when I moved to China, I got a language partner. He was Chinese. So I would teach him English, and he wanted me to correct him on everything: pronunciation, tone, like the way he was moving his mouth while he's talking. He wanted me to correct him on everything. So I think that's just depends on the person, honestly.
yeah. But like when we like try to find out someone's mistakes, or like for a beginner, it's a little bit hard for them to like listen that they are learning something new and they are making
Yeah.
enough mistakes which are not like
Yeah.
considerable. I think
Well,
that
you
will kind
can't
of,
really learn a new
yeah,
thing without making mistakes. It's like if you're trying to learn piano, you're never going to play a song without mistakes. You'll always have mistakes. And then that's one of the ways we just learn.
yeah, because like when I speak my mother tongue, I also make enough mistakes, but I never notice them because this is my primary language. I have been speaking this language since I was a kid. So I have nothing, I don't have any problem with it, whether I'm making mistakes or I'm just speaking whatever
Yeah.
coming to my mind.
What
But when I'm
what
moving
is your
to
native tongue?
like Hindi,
Oh, Hindi. Okay.
Hindi, yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
And like, but when I move to a like second language, for an example, English,
Yes.
I tend to think more about the mistakes, more about the grammatical aspects, more about the like reading, writing, this type of part.
Yeah.
And when I put myself into those thoughts, that what kind of mistakes and this, I think that hamper my speed.
Right.
Like for an example, like when I'm free, like stressed out, I can speak this language better. But when I'm like feeling with stress, anxiety, I can't speak this language. But that never happened with my native language. So
Yeah.
I think like for a learner, like for a beginner, I think it
Yeah.
would be better for them to like if they are having a simple process,
Hmm.
because I strongly believe like the more simple your process, the better result you're gonna get.
I agree.
What do you
And
think?
absolutely, because I've been teaching, my own children who are native English speakers, but I've also taught ESL students from ages 4 and 5 onward to adults. And the basics are really the important thing. Keeping it simple and fun. Doing something that you
Yeah.
enjoy that you'll keep wanting to do. So if it's not fun for you to keep having your, mistakes pointed out, then choose a different route. You don't have to do it with that person, or you don't have to do it with that method, because you want to keep it fun, because then you'll keep coming back to it.
Yeah, because yes, these are the few things. And the second question is like what's your thought on like translation method? Like when people try to translate their stuff from their native language to the second language, or from their second language to their first language. What do you think?
Oh, that's a good question, because when I was learning Chinese, I went into classes and they would just speak all Chinese the whole time. And if I didn't understand a part of it, they try to explain it to me in Chinese. And I think I learned faster that way. Instead of them just telling me what that word meant, she just kept speaking only Chinese, never went back to my native language. And that was really helpful, because it was really hard and it made my brain hurt sometimes. But like having all that exposure to the language and having her explain it in a new way gave me way more vocabulary than if I would just kept going back and forth between English and Chinese. So I think
Yeah.
there's always a place for it, but if you can have a class where it's just in English and it's simple English, then you're going to learn faster that way. Unless it's like a really technical word or something, have that person explain it to you, because there's so many synonyms in the English language. This word means something the same as this word. So I could tell you like 5 different words that mean the same as this one word, and maybe you know one of those on it by your own,
Yeah, because like when we're talking about the words, like how many words we have in our brain, we usually not use all of them.
Right.
Like we use context to context, or what kind of topic we are discussing about.
Mhm.
According to that, we use our words. So
Yeah.
I think like it doesn't matter that how bigger vocabulary size you have, but the
Right.
matter is how fluently you can use your words.
Mhm.
Because if you are not able to use your words, it doesn't matter how many you have in
Right.
your brain. It's like a
Right.
useless thing.
And it's probably
So
like if you have a native English speaker, that person probably does not speak Hindi. So if you're trying to explain something to me, you'd have to do it in English. And that was my situation in China. We had a housekeeper and she didn't speak English at all. So if I couldn't think of a word, and if I didn't know that, if I didn't have the vocabulary, I'd have to describe it to her with my other vocabulary. And it really helped me improve my language a lot just by doing that.
yeah, but like I think like this translation method is good like when you are a beginner, but like when you move to the next stage from beginner, I think it's not that much good. Because like when you translate a thing to one language to different language, I think in that process of translating, the meaning of that word or meaning of that phrase like changes a little bit.
Yeah.
So like you want to say something, but when you translate that, that is coming out something different.
Right. Well, think about when you're an infant in the first stage of language, it's like, here's a picture of an apple and here's the word apple next to it. That's, it's kind of a translation because you're seeing a picture of it. That's the basics that you start out with for each language. Every kid in the world learns like that. Every children's book, will have the picture next to the word so that they can start learning the language that way. And that's why we learn spoken before we learn to read, even.
Yeah, because I had this problem too, like when I was learning initially, like from when I was translating something from English to Hindi or Hindi to English, in that process of translating, the meaning of that particular thing was changing completely. So like after I noticed that, I try to little bit avoid the translation method and just try to adapt myself to the more natural way of speaking.
Yeah.
Like I try to listen more. I try to watch different stuff. I try to speak to different people. And that's how I avoid the translation method completely.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, because like I think like even though like when I'm like we are talking right now, and if I want to translate something from my language to English, it will take a little bit of time.
Right.
And that will also gonna make my speech slow.
Right.
And maybe that other person will feel that this guy don't have that much a command on this language.
Right.
Maybe this kind of thing people have in their mind.
Right. Well, and for me, when I would speak Chinese, I had to turn off English in my brain, just turn it off completely because it's a different method. Even the way you lay out a sentence, the sentence structure is different in Chinese. So I have to turn off English in my brain and only focus on Chinese. And then if I switch back and forth, I think that would be way confusing.
Yeah. Okay, so like this was the second question. Okay. So now the third question, like lots of people talk about reading books. So like, can you explain a little bit about that, how reading books can help in order to improve our language? Reading books
is a fantastic way, because a lot of, especially if you're reading a novel. So a novel, of course, it can be really exciting. There's a plot, there's characters, you can get really involved in all of that. But there's also a lot of description in a novel that people in your day-to-day speaking would never use. If you see that it's really nice outside, you're not going to describe it as like, wow, the fluffy clouds are rolling by through the sky. You would just say, look at those beautiful clouds. But when you read a novel, there's a lot of rich description there, a lot of adjectives. I feel like, some of the world's best writers have given the gift of speech to the people who read this, because they can learn so much. Even me, like if I'm reading a book written back in the 1800s in English, sometimes I have to look up the words. I'm learning new vocabulary, even though I'm a native English speaker, because they had a richer vocabulary base than I did. Maybe they spoke differently, of course, back then as well, but there's a lot of richness there that you wouldn't get just from speaking, and you definitely wouldn't get it from movies and sitcoms in the present day, because they kind of just make it as simplified as possible to appeal to the masses, right?
Yeah, that's why I asked this question. Like you told that the kind of words you will notice while reading a book, you're probably not going to use that word into your real speaking. Like for an example, today morning I was reading my course book, and there I noticed a word called confiscate. Like I didn't know the meaning, but when I searched it, it turns out that it means seize something. Yeah. Like the property was seized by the court. But like I've never ever used this word confiscate when I'm talking to someone. I always say seize or take over or this kind of things. So that's why I asked this question, that the kind of things we will notice in the book, but if we're not going to use that while we are practically practicing this language, I think that is not making any kind of sense or even point. So like, what is the right way to like acquire the vocabulary, like besides reading book?
Well, one of the things I do with my kids and students is we have a list of vocabulary words that you focus on. And even when I was in, I think I was like my junior year of high school, so like 17 years old, I took a vocabulary class and we just had to learn words and it just increasing your vocabulary. Plus I had a friend whose mom would just read the dictionary before she went to bed because there's so many words in our English language that even native English speakers don't use or know, but they're all in the dictionary, right? So even if
Yeah.
you're just learning a couple a day, a couple a week, there's always good when you're trying to improve. There always will have good come from it, you know? So maybe you'll learn a word and you don't use it for a couple of months, but eventually you'll find a way to use that word and it will become familiar to you. That's why getting it as part of your vocabulary really means. It's not just like, oh, I know that word, it's somewhere in the back of my mind, but like I'm using it. And you will always sound more educated when you can use bigger vocabulary words, right? So that's another
But
benefit.
like it's like something like, as far as I know, like most of the people don't like to read books. They always
Really?
hate to read books. So
Wow.
when I'm talking to a people who don't like to read books,
Yeah.
and when I'm going to use the book words in front of him, he will probably think that he is flirting. He is fronting, kind of like showing off or something. When I'm going to use that sort of like bigger words or maybe complicated words. And even though I've never noticed like this kind of things, like when people usually talk, they usually use the like normal vocabulary, like which is understandable by everyone. Because right now this English language is turning into a like global language. It is not just like confined it to like America or England to this, but this is a language which is prevailing to the entire world. So like every country has their own way to use this language. Every country has a different accent. So nowadays it would be better if we try to understand every single one. Because like for an example, like yesterday I was talking to one of my friend, and she was from China, and she was like pronouncing ease. We usually pronounce ease, but they were like e. They were like dropping the sound of s. So I got confused, and when I asked her that what does this word mean, then she was like, no, I'm pronouncing just ease. So like this kind of problem I normally face when I talk to like non-native speakers.
Right.
Because when I talk to native speakers, it's very easy to recognize their word because they always pronounce the word the way it should be. But when I comes to talk to like non-native speakers, they try to like pronounce the word a little bit different than it should be. That's created a little bit of problem.
Well, and I think especially for the Chinese accent, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like I said, Chinese and English have nothing in common. And there are sounds that you make in English that they never make in Chinese and vice versa. So that could be part of the problem as well.
Yeah.
And I think reading books is the thing can help us a lot, because the more you read, the more you get vocabulary, the more you get like some ideas, you know. And then the books with you know, pictures, it's a very important also, because it can help you a lot.
Yeah.
Like before yesterday when we were reading, because before we go to bed, we always read books. So Larine, she finishes like a big book, like I don't know how many pages. And she enjoyed reading it. And even us like listening how she read it, it was so nice, because you can feel like there is like a life there, you know, because she loves reading books before she goes to bed. Like all of them, I'm not like reading to them anymore, because they don't want that. They want to read before they are going to go to bed. Even Lazy just pick up she wants to pick one book, but it's not like a very very thick, but just like a short story. And then she started like reading, because they want that, not me reading to them. So when we do that every day, no matter what, like how thick is the book, they want to finish it before they are going to bed. Then we are just like, oh, switch off the lights. It's late. Tomorrow you're gonna finish. I was like, no, we want to finish before we. So
That's
they're
good.
small. It is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard to tell them to read. Because for me, like I started reading book when I was like, I don't know, like around 18, when I was start joining the church, because the church told me to read the Book of Mormon and the scriptures, and I didn't get used to do that before. So when I started reading those, it was kind of like hard for me because I didn't read like when I was small. I'm not like my daughter, no, like when you give her a book and she just love reading it and she just like but me, it was hard for me. And then to have time to read that book there, oh my goodness, it's kind of like hard. But now I get used to it now. So I love doing it. And, so reading books is one of the best. Ginny said like, it's fantastic. It's the best, like reading books, it is very good and useful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, but like the problem happens with me as well. Like when I read books, like and when I check my notepad, I have more than 20,000 words. But when I talk to people, I barely even use 1/3 of all those words. I usually use the normal words. So like the problem is like if people are acquiring those vocabulary which they're not gonna use ever, that's just a wasting of time. So instead of those kind of words, if they like focus on the practical conversation or maybe like movies or maybe like the kind of videos or something, they will get the proper vocabulary which they will get the chance to use directly from that video or from that movie to direct to the conversation.
Are you
But
talking
when we
about
look at
as beginners?
like for everyone,
For everyone?
like even though like I have noticed this like when I talk to in English to a people like those who don't have that sort of like academic career, they talk to in a different way. But when I talk to people those who have like PhD degree and this sort of, they use this language in a different way. So this is something pretty much like very different, and we need to understand all these things, and that's how we need to acquire our vocabulary.
Well, I
Because
feel
like
honestly, I disagree with that because I feel like there's nothing wasted if you're learning. There's nothing wasted. Maybe you won't use it right away, but if you keep reading and you keep increasing your level of reading, then you're going to start increasing your level of speaking. And maybe you personally are just speaking English with only people who know less than you, but it might be better for you to surround yourself with people who speak better English than you so that you can improve.
Yeah. I agree as well, but like there's a problem with me. Like, okay, I know like many vocabularies, those are in my mind, but I can use them personally. But when someone is using those sort of vocabulary in front of me, I could easily recognize all of them and I can understand them. So I found out that I am learning the vocabulary in the first place to understand others. After that, then I try to use those vocabulary when by myself, because I feel that if I'm not be able to understand the other person, what she is or he is speaking, there is no point of conversation. So for me, like acquiring vocabulary, the first objective of like acquiring vocabulary is to understand others. Then you can use that vocabulary, because like the way I'm gonna speak, I know I can control that. But the way you're gonna speak, I don't have any control over that. You can use any kind of words, any kind of phrases. So in order to understand you, I have to have a bigger size of vocabulary. That is important. So yes,
True.
nothing is waste. Whatever you are learning,
Yeah.
it is right. Yep. So the okay, the last question, and this is the most often asked question by people, that how much time it will take us to speak this language. How many times you got this question from your students? First off,
I don't think I've ever had that question.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, a bit late than that, but
Alan is here, and yeah, talk a little bit to him before you're gonna ask the last question.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, okay.
I-
Well, Sunil just asked a very interesting question. He asked,
We
how long
lost
would
you.
it take?
Like we cannot hear.
Can you hear me?
yes,
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He asked, how long will it take? What did you say exactly to learn
Like
English?
how long? Yeah, how long it will take to
I can
speak
hear
it?
you, but I don't know if he can hear.
Jenny, ma'am, your voice is a little bit cracking. Like you are frozen completely.
Yeah, you're frozen.
So this was the question, Alan. That
Okay.
like students always ask this question, that how much time it will take them to learn English. What do you think on it?
Can you slow that down a little bit? Don't speak too fast. Just tell me the question again.
He
The
said,
students want to know what?
how
What do
long
they
will it
want?
take to learn English?
Oh God, that's like saying how long is a piece of string? You know, it ends. It could be 3 years, 10 years. It depends on the individual, but for the average student to become really good, I would have said, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5 years. It all depends on their ability.
Yeah.
Everybody learns at a different pace, and
Well, and I know for learning a musical instrument, they say it would take 10,000 hours of practice
I
to
don't
become
doubt it. If
a
you said to me,
master.
I'm going to play the violin or the piano, I would know that it's going to, yes, it's another skill, isn't it?
But I
And-
mean,
and-
with English, and of course, even with piano, you could start, in 1 week, you're learning, you play a song, you can learn a
Yes.
song. And
Yes.
in a couple weeks or a couple months of English, you can say some sentences and you can
Just a
say,
phrase, yes.
you can talk about basic subjects,
Absolutely.
but
yes.
you're always building upon it. And that's the great thing, is you can
Well,
start doing it right at the beginning. You're just not going to
Absolutely,
be
yeah.
as great as the masters.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's like me with the Spanish, because I haven't put much time into it, I can only blame myself that I'm not fluent in Spanish now. But you take out what you put in, as we say, you reap what you sow.
Mhm.
And the more you put into it, then the sooner you're going to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
What age group
Yeah.
students are we talking about? When you say your students, what sort of age group are they, average?
Like average, like the age 15 to 25, the age of 15 to 25.
15 to 45. Wow, right. Well, I'm sure it's going to be, the fast learners might do it in reasonably fluent in 3 years, and the
Mhm.
slow ones might be 5 years. You cannot-
Yeah, because like personally, if I'm gonna share my experience with you, that it took me around 1 year and 4 months to talk to you and to understand
Yeah.
all of you.
Is
Just
that
1
how
year,
long
4
you've
months.
been studying? 1 year and 4 months.
Yes, 1 year, 4 months.
That's pretty good, really. I mean, if
Yeah.
you keep on at that rate, give
Yeah.
it another, at the end of 2 years plus, you'll be well away. All you've got to do is fine tune your dialect. And
Yeah.
that comes to practice. Yeah. Don't
And-
worry about
and
it. I
just
don't mean to be,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. It's not, I don't mean to criticize that, but I mean, yes, that's it. I mean, you've learned a massive range of vocabulary.
Yeah, you have.
And your grammar is pretty good. It's just the fine tuning on
But
your.
I'm imagining that you're putting in a lot of effort and a lot of work every day to do that as
Yeah,
well,
oh,
right? And it's just
Yeah,
like
obviously.
with a musical instrument, you know,
Yes.
you can always learn more. You can never get perfect at an instrument. There's always more to learn. So
Yeah, learning is a
Yeah.
lifetime experience. You never really know it all. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know, as we say.
Yeah, because like I was telling to Jenny ma'am that like 4 months ago, I wasn't even able to understand native speaker. For an example,
right.
Alan, or for an example, you. But like now I can understand each and every single word spoken by both of you.
Ah, that's
So I think
amazing.
this is all about like
Good.
practice.
Good.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
good because we
That's
have
good
a
that you
varied
can
range of
understand.
accents.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Where are you from, Virginia? Where
I'm
are
from
you
the US,
Oh, you're
from the States.
American.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, right.
American.
Oh,
So, but I
you've
live
got
in
a
South
full
Africa now. Where are you from, Alan?
very good, yeah.
Are you from the
And no
UK?
doubt you have certain phrases like
Yeah.
we have that are peculiar to the USA, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah, when I
Yeah.
go to the UK, I'm like, what? What did you say?
I tell
It was
you
all
one that
in English.
amuses me. I tell you one that amuses me. They say, I've gotten it. I've gotten that. I've gotten.
I've
Not that
gotten
I've got it. I've gotten it.
Yeah. I think
There I go.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
completely different.
I think I just
Yeah.
I think I just have to invite a person from Australia. Then we'll be British, American, Australian, then the Indian. Then we'll have all kind of accents of English.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
you
gonna do
will
that too.
see.
It is combined English American. Jenny, why do you call the unicorn? Is it unicorn? What's the relevance of the unicorn and the Scorpio? Is it scorpion?
What?
What was behind the
Okay,
name?
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you. I do
Yes,
have a
please.
group of students, and they're
Right.
the one who choose the class. There is a group of flowers, and I asked them
Right.
why you want to use the name as the flowers. And there is a group of unicorn, and then there is a group of scorpion. So they have to explain to me why they choose the group. So the group of unicorn is the group from someone who is from here. Larin, Lacey,
Okay.
Patrick, and Trevor, and those people from here, like they choose the unicorn one. So
Yes.
when the scorpion, which is from Madagascar, and flowers from Madagascar, and they have to talk each other, we will be having a time of like competition, but not competition in the way that we think that,
No.
okay, So unicorn is going to compete with the scorpion. That's why those people in Madagascar, they are working hard.
So what sort of group come from the scorpion group? The children?
No, the Nessie,
Oh.
some from Fort Dauphin,
I think it's a combined group, like
their
all kind
name
of
is
ages.
their I forgot. There's Fort Dauphin. Like from
Your
the
voice is
province.
breaking.
Jeannie knows them because
Your voice
them
is
during
breaking.
the class time. Really?
Now
Oh
you're
my
completely
goodness,
frozen.
no, guys. I don't
We're losing the sound. Is somebody's chopping us off?
Yes.
I don't know.
We have load shedding here in South Africa, so sometimes the internet or even the power is really choppy
To do with
or
the
gone.
internet.
Yeah.
So Virginia, why? I mean, you speak English. What was your reason for joining the club? Is it to help or assist people in speaking the language?
Yeah, just to teach.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
you're
an
not lost.
ESL teacher. I've lived outside of the US for 11 years.
Really?
So
And what do you teach?
I teach English.
Oh, you do? What, to
Yeah.
the Americans?
No.
Oh,
Not
right.
to my
I was gonna say,
kids.
my God.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why we got
You're not
teachers
in
like Ginny
America.
and
You're
Jenny.
where are you? Madagascar or somewhere? Are you?
He's helping my student because many people from our school, from my
Yes.
school, of Language and Career Development
Yeah.
needs. So she's here, and she lives not far from me.
Yeah, I met Jenny
we-
at church.
Ah,
I
see the
told her I
connection
would
now,
be
yeah.
happy to help once a week
Yeah.
teaching
Oh,
a
well, that's
class.
good. Well,
Okay.
it's like me,
Okay,
you know, I
listen.
just enjoy it really. I mean,
Yeah.
I just
Okay,
hope that
guys.
we can be of help.
But-
Really.
Yeah.
And Sunil, can I ask you?
Yes.
You obviously can see that we both speak English, but there's certainly a difference in our accent. Do you find that? I mean, you understand us both?
Yes,
Or-
obviously. It's very easy to understand the American as compared to British, but now I can understand both the accents, British
Oh,
as
wow.
well as American.
Very good.
And
Yeah.
that's why it's hard. Even my students, they were like, we couldn't understand Grandpa Alan. Please help. So why is it like that, Grandpa Alan? Why is
Sorry?
it hard for you? The British.
Your sound is being cut off. Can you
We
repeat
just,
that?
we just got like 30 seconds left, so we can't
Oh.
discuss anymore.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's nice to see you all.
Yeah, you
And-
too.
And
Oh,
we're gonna have
okay.
this sort of chats again,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
maybe
Okay,
next
then,
Sunday.
Sunil. Sure. Okay.
Okay, so see you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
everyone.
Bye-bye, Sunil. See you
Bye.
again.